There's none of us that haven't dealt with hurt feelings, hurt feelings. And I dealt with hurt feelings. And it was really, really, really painful. Painful. And the thing is, I didn't know what to do. I had never experienced anything like that. It was a unique thing to me. And I was in the dark. I was in the dark. And thing is that, you know, we get our feelings hurt from different circumstances. Sometimes we get our feelings hurt from misunderstandings between, mates. Sometimes we get our feelings hurt by, upended scenarios between those that are close to us. Sometimes we get our feelings hurt by the things that we did not know. You know, a lot of things that can, really put us in a bind and put us in that emotional state. And when I think about hurt feelings, and it's something that crossed my mind that I was thinking about it, probably because of sometimes, um, think about, those that may have hurt my feelings. That's the thing about when God really opened up the door and really started revealing all these things to me and making me see things I didn't want to see. You know, came with a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of hurt feelings. And, from a relationship status, feelings hurt. I think if I really look back on it all, I would think that probably the relationship between one of my kids and my last relationship hurt me more than anything, by far devastated me. And there are times that, although I'm constantly on the move and keeping life moving, there are times that I think about it. I do think about it. And, how do you deal with hurt feelings? How do you move on and how do you, reconcile those feelings? And the thing is, too, I don't believe in, holding, bad feelings towards another human being. And I know it's easier said than done. We're all different on how we operate, how we feel, how we think, and it's not an easy thing to do. However, you always have to think about, you and where it leaves you spiritually, where it leaves you emotionally, where it leaves you life-wise, because it's a momentum game. Life is a momentum game. And, you gain momentum when you're focused. You gain momentum when you have direction. You gain momentum by, how you see things. And so it's vital that, we keep our momentum going in the right direction. And so when do we acknowledge or address certain things that we have felt, you know? And I'm at that point where I've definitely, faced that demon. And, I look back on everything and I've definitely had regrets. And I've had regrets even to sometimes even, you know, just the overall status of me in that whole cycle of things. And was not always a pretty picture, but this thing about it, see, that's the thing that what really bothered me about hurt feelings is I'm a simple person. And for me, I'm sorry goes a long way. I'm sorry goes a long way. And if I personally ever say I'm sorry, it's always going to be genuine. But you want to hear I'm sorry from other parties. And, when you don't get that I'm sorry, does that affect you? You know what I mean? And the thing for me is I always look at the individual and feel like one thing is for sure. We all have a right to be ourselves. We all have a right to, comment things the way we comment them, as long as we ain't hurt nobody. It's the main thing. But, yeah, so how do you deal with hurt feelings? How do you get yourself motivated, to go on to the next part of your journey of life, you know? That's what it's all about. That's what I'm talking about, momentum, right? And things that come into our path that may break our momentum. And hurt feelings is probably one of the biggest hurdles that we as human beings face. Of that, I am sure. Of that, I am sure. Um, it's kind of ironic for me because throughout my life, I was always the one, the counselor, you know what I mean? It's always the one that, and I'm sure a lot of you listening to this video probably can attest to feeling that same way, that people will come to you and they want to get your opinion on things or get your direction on things, as far as how they're feeling about something. And, if you have that ability to talk them through it and work with them through it, their emotional state, it's a great thing. It's a great thing, So that's what we're on earth to do, is to be there for each other. It's a beautiful thing. The situation may not be beautiful, but the fact that you have someone to turn to is a beautiful thing. And that was the thing with me, is I was lacking, and I still lack it to this day. I do lack that to this day. I don't have, the actual vine of, other human beings to reach out to. I don't have that, and it's one of those things where you really don't want to have to, endure hurt feelings if you get them. Especially for me, my first time, so it was really a difficult journey. It was really difficult, and trying to deal with it was difficult. And I really, really, really hate how it consumed me the way it did. I do, and I hate that. I was not prepared for it. And you can't prepare for it. So that part is understandable, but we have to be very careful about going down rabbit holes and thinking about all these different things and whatnot, and can't go there, And another thing too is, we do this thing where, and I'm not speaking for you, I'm only speaking for my experience in just being a human being on this planet. This thing where it's about blame, looking for someone to blame, and who's at fault, who pulled a move, who did this, who did that, and all these different things. And the truth of the matter is, there could be sometimes a scenario where, things may have not been a righteous move, or this, that, and the other, or whatever. Or it could have just been simple miscommunication. To me, one thing I've learned, and I do believe this from my heart, is that miscommunication is the biggest thing that leads to hurt feelings. Hurt feelings is miscommunication. You may not understand, what they're feeling, thinking, or they're not conveying to you how they feel or what they're thinking. See, that thing right there, to me, is a negative thing. If I'm coming to you and I'm expressing myself, and again, you could be falling short in that area yourself and not know it. And you're expressing yourself, and your being is, pouring your heart out, what I mean? Maybe through actions, through words, or through different scenarios. And, it's not being reciprocated. And the other party may be, it's kind of more of not necessarily a game. It's more of a thing where, that's just what they may be used to. That's how they're used to conducting things, their business when it comes down to relationship with others. It's sometimes it could be a thing where, hey, I'm gonna get out of this thing all I can and I'm gone, or it could be a situation where, things change, but it's when you don't notify the other person that things have changed and you're not communicating that to them, then it's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be a train wreck. And so, if you gave me 3 wishes right now, that would be one of my top wishes. Most would go for, lot of money and fame or whatever, which I don't know. But for me, my thing would definitely be to amend hurt feelings. Men hurt feelings, even my own hurt feelings, especially my own hurt feelings. I would love to, try to repair those relationships. I would love to, and unfortunately, I don't have that power. I'm just a human being. But if I had the ability to, communicate with, those parties from, even one of my children I was talking about, if I had the ability to, try to repair things, from former relationships, the one or two that's of any vitalness, really, when to be honest, I don't want to be sitting up here trying to play like I'm really just focusing on relationships. It's only been one that really hurt my feelings, you know what I mean? So let me just clear that up. But I would love to. I really do wish I could clear that up. I feel like I wouldn't be around somebody I feel like was not a good person for me. And it's not about judging them or anything like that. And notice I didn't say good person. No, that's not my job. We're all good in our own ways, but I was talking about a good person for me. And so, I wouldn't invest that time. I wouldn't definitely allow myself to get emotionally tied up if I didn't feel that way, if I didn't feel some type of way, And so, we always wish we can go back, turn the clock back, and undo, things that led to hurt feelings. And I'm no different. I'm no different. So how do we, take that energy and prosper from it? Meaning, how do we take that energy and build on it? So not only that we don't have a repeat performance, but also so that we know how to deal with hurt feelings when they occur, And the thing is that on one end, you can never predict it. And if you're dealing with another human being, especially in this day and time, that's very key. That's very key. 60s was different, 70s, 80s, 90s. You go on through all these decades, and things were different. Things were different, and they changed through time. And technology has actually made it worse, as far as trying to have genuineness. It's made it a lot worse. So, it's almost sometimes, who can you trust? But you can't live your life like that, You can't live your life on pins and needles and be concerned about, can you believe what you're hearing? That's why, we gotta turn to our gut. That one thing that's been around since the beginning of time. It's the only thing that has endured all of these decades is our gut. Our gut is never wrong. Never wrong. And, there may be times when, our gut may be telling us something, but we have to, at least every now and then, we may have the wrong facts. We may have drawn a picture that's not real, And what do I mean by that? There are times when we come to conclusions on things with the wrong facts. We come up with these facts out of our head, or we come up with these facts by scenarios or whatnot, but that's where but we don't bother communicating with the other person to get the facts, to actually get the facts. And so we draw on conclusions, guaranteeing hurt feelings all around, of course. That's the end result for sure. But more importantly, what does that leave you with, that thought of each other, when you're basing something on wrong facts? And so, it's where communication is so key. Communication is really, to me, the real pitfall of what leads to hurt feelings. It's simple as saying, hey, I want to tell you something, or I want to ask you something, or hey, I just want to communicate, I want to know what's on your mind, and they honestly tell you what's on their mind, and y'all communicate. You might find out, wow, I didn't even know. Okay, I was way off base. Come over here and give me a hug. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so, you just never know. You never know. But always be, you know, one advocate of, you know, communication. I'm always going to be an advocate of, you know, the bounce back. And, you know, life has definitely been interesting, you know, in my world. And so, you know, it continues to be interesting. But, yeah, hurt feelings. I would say one human being to another that, you know, if you're in that current state of hurt feelings right now, you know, pull back for a minute. Pull back for a minute. Don't think about nothing. Don't react. Don't have nothing. None of that. Just pull back for a minute. You know, sometimes, you know, we may be the problem. Sometimes there was communication is probably definitely the culprit of this whole thing, you know, and sometimes it could just be, you know, a situation where, hey, somebody else has something else on their mind, you know what I mean? And they kind of left you out the picture, you know? And is that unfortunate? It's very unfortunate, you know, but these are the times we're in. You know, I tend to always, I'm going to stay simple. You know, talk to me. You know what I mean? Talk to me. And, but, you know, if you have hurt feelings, you know, pull back because you can get a better perspective of things. And if you have the ability to communicate with that person by phone, you know, in person or whatever, talk to them. Talk to that person, and you know, and see where, you know, he or she may be, you know, coming from, or maybe, and you may find out both of y'all have just had the wrong idea of something, or both of y'all had a miscommunication, and all of a sudden you realize it's not as bad as you thought it was. Instead of letting it lead down the road of miscommunication, more importantly, leading to you having this bad, you know, idea of this individual, you know. So, you know, just a thought coming through my mind, you know, as I sit here and think about, just had a minute, you know, and just thinking about that, thinking about hurt feelings. And, you know, one thing I want to say on my way out the door is, you know, I'm at my stage of my life where I want a clean slate. And what do I mean by that? I don't want any impurities. I don't want anything that's stained, you know, has stained my life throughout the course of time. I don't want anything, nobody having bad feelings towards me. I don't have any bad feelings towards anyone. And I would love to have a clean slate. And is that possible? I don't know. You know, the only thing we can do is just do our best. You know, that's all we can do. Anyway, I'll let you later on.